Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
And welcome to Late Night Love. This week we tackle the messy interactions of life, love, and relationships, from canceled vacations and workplace frustrations to navigating kids' fears and political exclusion. We explore how to stay grounded when life feels unfair. In relationships, we dive into trust issues like handling a partner's reconnected ex-friend, forgiving lies, or navigating a hall pass offer. Join us for practical tips on managing emotions, setting boundaries, and finding clarity in work, life, parenting, and romance. So stay tuned and stick around. This has been a chaotic thing. As you all can tell, if you're watching the stream, we have changed our studio setup. And yeah, it's a little chaotic here. We're not quite done. So if I look a little green on camera, you know why. I'm not sick. I haven't eaten something wrong. It's we haven't quite got the green screen all set, figured out, as you can see. But maybe I correct that in post. Who knows? And maybe they don't get to see that I'm green. I somehow doubt that I can correct that in post, though.
You're a magician.
No, I am many, many things. But there are some changes coming right with this week. We got some changes. We're changing our format a little. So we're doing life, love, and relationship questions. You know, they're the same type of questions. We're just kind of mixing up how and where we do them. We're having our, while we record on one day, we don't record kind of publicly, we record privately. You can go to the website in the future. You can go to the website and see and watch the live recording, but you're not going to be able to see it anywhere else. And then we'll release our live questions on Tuesdays. We'll go live on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we'll have our love questions, parenting, that kind of thing. And we talk relationships and that we'll drop on Saturdays.
Very good.
So there's our new schedule.
Nice.
So it's a little bit different. We've got a bigger table. Me and Lovey are now sitting apart where we can wag our fingers at each other and all that fun stuff.
I can't reach out and squeeze your arm.
Yeah, see, there's a reason. And I've got farther and farther. See, the other table was a little small. This table's a little big. We're going to have to get one that's just like right in between. We're like, I'm like, what is it, Goldilocks or something? I just can't find, don't know how this works or doesn't work all the time. So, all right, so we're going to jump in. I don't have much to chitter-chatter about today because it's been a chaotic week. I haven't had a day off this week, which is a bummer. But I did have some fun on Earth Day, but you can stick around for the second segment or the second show, and we'll talk about that as we get into that. Okay, so our life questions. Mostly these are work questions and that type of thing, so let's see what we got this week.
Okay. Annual leave approved. Holiday booked. Annual leave now seemingly canceled. And he doesn't know what to do.
Well, I've always gone on my vacations anyway because, my life doesn't revolve around my employer. But, depends what's the annual leave. I need more context. Is it like a teacher who doesn't get to go on his annual leave now? Or is it like in Europe where they used to get, a month off?
It's a corporate thing.
And so money's tight now. And so the paid annual leave is now going away and you're just going to have to pay your own own vacation, essentially. You no longer get the extra week of vacation or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Times are tough. Sometimes you have to suck it up for a little while. It just is. But, you pay for your own vacation and you go. And I don't see that a big deal.
There you go.
So, but I'd still go on the vacation just because you may not get paid for it or as long. I have a suspicion that they had a very generous package that has now gone away. And instead of being grateful that you had it for that long, which, most of us would try to do at least, they're a little, I don't want to say entitled, but, you get a nice benefit and when it gets taken away, you're going to feel like you've lost something because in a sense you have. But realistically, now you're just down here with the rest of us. So, so I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for him because, you did lose something. But on the same time, it's the way the world works. So I'm just going to have to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Anyone try to swallow their sadness through nonstop hard work?
Yeah, lots of people. Lots of people just try to ignore sadness, all kinds of problems.
The malaise.
And depression, sadness, any uncomfortable emotion they don't want to deal with, they'll dive into work, right? Grief, anger, the solution is, we'll go do something productive. And at least you're doing something productive. That's kind of the mindset on that. I get it. But, at some point, you're still going to have to deal with whatever's making you sad and whatnot. Now, maybe you are. Let's not downplay the fact that if you can't do anything about it, and so you work your way through it, by working your way through it, it's a valid strategy. If it actually works. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. I'm not going to go and say, hey, this is your go-to strategy. But for those of whom it's a strategy that works, then it's a strategy that works, and more power to you.
Okay. Well, yeah, but isn't it avoidance, really?
Only if there's something you can actually do. Sometimes when you're sad, the only thing you can do is just kind of go through it, right?
Okay.
There's nothing really to do except for be sad for a while.
Okay.
And if the way you cope with that is by, overworking, it's probably not good for you. But if it gets you through the tough times where one day you're just going, oh, life's normal again, because you put your head down and ignored 3 months because that's what it was going to take regardless. Mm-hmm. You're not really ignoring it. You're not really avoiding it. You're just kind of forcing your way through it in a way that's feels productive for you, rather than sitting at home eating ice cream and bonbons and watching movies and crying. Some people need to do that. Other people need to work. Other people need to gather with friends and family, and tell stories. Whatever it is, you get through whatever that sadness is, the grief, the mourning, whatever the underlying issue is. Now, if there's underlying trauma that you're avoiding, then you're correct, right? You're not. That's just avoiding.
Exactly.
Yes. But if there's nothing to do, if someone's passed away, your dog has passed away, and all you can really do is live through it.
Yeah. Okay, I get you.
So I think that's where we talk about. Okay.
Okay. What's the dumbest reason you were let go from a job?
Well, there's lots of dumb reasons to be let go from a job. I don't think I've ever been let go because of a dumb reason. I think every time I was let go from a job, it was either economics or legitimate. Like I crashed the company car twice. These these kind of things. They happen, right? It is what it is. I was 20 years old, so but at the point is, I don't think I've ever been fired for a really dumb reason. But,
I was fired because I text too much on the company phone.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, those things cost money.
They did. They actually, instead of getting a plan where they had unlimited, they had to pay for each text.
They didn't have unlimited plans. I remember I was one of the first people who when I was 20 years old, got to have a cell phone, carry around a cell phone. It was a brick. You carry around this big old thing. It's about this huge. And simply dialing the phone was 50 cents. Whether the person answered or not, it was 50 cents just to try to connect. But, when you're a medical delivery driver, they were willing to pay that cost. Yeah. So I don't know. There's all kinds of dumb reasons you can get let go for a job. But if you're let go from a job because of a dumb reason, you probably don't want to be working there anyway. So that's a better way to look at it. So, yeah. All right. So what's next?
How to become a practical person at the workplace. She's emotional.
Yeah.
And she's trying to take the emotion and just keep it work out,
Yes.
you know.
Well, you have to practice managing your emotions, parking your emotions until later. There's nothing you can, there's no secret sauce to that. You literally just have to practice parking your emotions. It's a lot of self-talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you feel yourself overreacting to something, no, I am not going to have an emotional reaction right now. I am going to go through, I am going to do my tasks in a dispassionate way. I will feel later. That's what guys do. I don't have time for this, so I'm not going to feel this. And the problem with guys is we never come back to it, right? We tell ourselves we're going to come back and deal with it later, and we don't. So so there's that problem. But yeah, that's how you just practice. And then as you become better at managing, you know, telling yourself when you're allowed to have those emotions. And if you actually respect and come back to those emotions, your psyche allows you to do that because it trusts you. You start to trust yourself. Okay, they are going to come back to me and deal with these. So you trust yourself over time.
Yeah.
There is a battle within inside of you. We are not one person, right? Some people talk about that little instinctive core part of your brain, and then you got the bigger thinking part of your brain. You know, there's more than one of you walking around inside, and it's not like personalities, but it's how some people can misinterpret things as personalities. But if you're not having at least arguments with yourself, right? They may not be, if you're not contemplating and working through yourself and, you know, going backs and forwards on trying to make decisions, then you're not thinking hard enough.
I was always told that I think too much.
Well, you can have paralysis by analysis.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
Well, if you're, you know, that's.
No, these are people who wanted their own way, is what I'm thinking. I was just supposed to go along.
Yeah, or you're just making their lives a pain in the butt and just
Tough tatas.
just woman, knock it off. All right. So, what's next?
Is it common for small companies to never increase personal time off after a year after year? I just hit my 5-year mark and I'm sitting on 40 hours of personal time off per year.
So that's a week of vacation time. If that's their standard, that's their standard. There's not every place increases every year because at some point, you know, if you've been there for so long, you know, there has to be an upper limit. Yeah. Oftentimes, you know, after a certain time, you get like 2 weeks or something like that instead of just one. But, you know, and small companies don't have the same bandwidth to pay for these things, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one of the benefits of working for small companies is you generally get some more flexibility. You know, you get more personal experience. The downside is they don't have the resources to pay for your extra week of time off. So this is a balance. This is a trade-off. On the plus side is they're more likely to give you that second week off if you ask for it. You just have to pay for it yourself. Mm-hmm. You save up some money and you take the time off. They're more flexible than that, you know. So, you know, what you lose in benefits, you gain in flexibility. So which one do you prefer? Do you want the corporate management styles or do you want the flexibility and personal, you know, interactions of a small business?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these choices aren't easy. The world is about a bunch of trade-offs, right? That's just
I'm afraid it is.
That's just how it goes.
Why should I work hard for a company that doesn't care about me?
Okay, let me put it this way: do you care about your plumber? The guy comes in and fixes your drain. Really? I mean, sure, you want to pay him a fair wage, but do you actually care about him? Of course not. It's not your job. Your job is to pay him to come in, pay his fee, and he goes home. It's an economic transaction. But does that mean he shouldn't work hard? Of course he should. He should come in and do his job Not because the customer cares about him, because that's his job. It says more about him than it does about, when you're the employer, do you care about your gardener? Maybe if your gardener's been your gardener for 10 years, maybe you genuinely care about him. But for the most part, gardeners are, kind of disposable employees, right? After 3-4 years, a lot of gardeners have a tendency to become complacent. You don't do as good a job, and you end up changing companies. That's what happens. Someone offers you, a little better deal, and the other guy was getting lazy anyway, and so you change companies because he's not working hard anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just how the world is. So whether you work hard for the company or not, this has nothing to do about the company. It's about you. Got nothing to do with the company. You work hard, you do your quality work because it says something about you. Not about the company you work for. It says something about you. You don't have to care about the company. You don't have to care about your customer. You don't have to care about your employer, but you should care about your work ethic.
Do you do an honest day's job for a fair wage?
It's just when you say you're going to do something, do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And do you do it the best you can do that particular day? Not every day is the same, right? Some days you're great at your job. Other days you're your own worst enemy. It just happens. Some days you can't get out your own way. Other days you're the greatest thing on earth, right? The world just works that way. But so you don't work because of the company. You don't work because of the way the company treats you. You leave or you stay because of the way the company treats you. You work because of your own personal work ethic. That shouldn't change, because the minute that changes because of your circumstances, then you're no longer your own master. You're letting your circumstances dictate who you are. And now you're just a sock puppet blowing in the wind. Do you really want to do that? So my suggestion is start looking for a different job, because you're going to become a toxic person inside and outside the business. Becomes a habit, not working as hard as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't do it. Don't do it. So that's the end of this segment. We will see you guys next week.